to the webinar of the project Women and Money. Thank you for all participants. Today we're gonna hear about, we'll be here with Dulce Guarda from Splink. So I'll pass the words to Dulce. Thank you very much, Dulce, to be here with us today.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me, and welcome all, and to the ones that are going to come as well in the meantime. So let me start sharing my screen, and I'll introduce a little bit about me and the project while we are still waiting a little bit for all the others to come. So like Teresa said, my name is Dulce, and I am a co-founder at Splink. And Splink is a scale-up that is dedicated to connect the sports fans with their favorite football teams. In this case, we are talking about football, but we can implement the project in other sports. In the future, we are going to do that. And we do this connection through immersive experiences that is an augmented reality concept connected to the merchandising products that the clubs have and that we create for them. But today I'm here to talk a little bit about stereotypes in business and investment, and so let's start on this topic. So stereotypes, it's a funny word that it's been around for quite some time. Even though we don't want to call ourselves a stereotype person, or that we create stereotypes for others, I think we do that on a daily basis, even though we don't want to harm anyone. But stereotypes are overall, they drive and they lead people to form opinions about others and about situations that we put ourselves into, and this tends to guide our decisions and our preconcepts, and they generate a great impact and tend to have consequences, whether it is in our life or in our business or inside our companies. So usually these stereotypes, they create prejudice and discrimination, and I think it's important for everyone to be aware of the stereotypes that we have, even though that like I said before, sometimes we don't mean any harm, but they are there, even though sometimes we don't pay attention to them, right? Okay, so they come in various forms. Usually they affect minorities or less represented people in society or inside our workplace. And they come, usually it's around race, gender, age, sexual orientation, and religious affiliation. And we need to understand that they do come in various forms. And nowadays, the global world, it's getting more global. We work with people remotely. They are not only people that are inside our countries. We come across different cultures, and it's very important, especially inside the startups and the business world, to be aware of these differentiations between people. I brought here a video that maybe some of you already know, and this is just a short version that I did, but I think it explains really well the concepts that we create around minorities. So let's just take a look at this video. I hope that my sound is okay for you to listen to the video.
It's okay.
Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Okay, so I'm going to just give you some actions to do, and just do the first thing that comes to mind. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
Here.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
Aw. My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
So in this video, I think we understand really well the concept that it's put inside our minds, even though we don't want to feel this way. Like even girls, when they are being asked to run like a girl or fight like a girl, they make fun of themselves. And this is because the stereotypes, like I said in the beginning, even though we don't want to harm people or we are really good people in our hearts, it's sometimes we do these misconceptions and we don't want to do them. But when we ask the same questions to younger generation, to kids that just start to live, they don't feel these stereotypes. So for them, people are just people, and they don't have any comparison between a girl or a boy. Why should the girl be different than a boy, or a black person or an Asian person? So everyone is just the same. And I think this is a really small video, and it's a very simple concept, but it's very well explained, and it explains really well the concept of stereotypes. So I wanted I wanted to bring this one to you. So even among entrepreneurs, we do have stereotypes, and although we come across different people, cultural countries, we still have ideas preformed about older generations and younger generations. So I think it's important to understand that inside every moment or every place that we are, just because we live in society, ideas rub on us, whether we like it or not. And it's up to each one of us to see the uniqueness in everyone and embrace those differences that can bring so many great things inside our companies or inside our lives. Inside the tech startups, there's also a very big stereotype. Usually it's because founders are men, and even though the reality is another, this is still an idea that it's implemented. So usually the techie part are associated with men, but also with more brilliant or young minds, and sometimes it's not like that. And I also brought here a short video that about a presentation I did on the TV news, and you're going to see that this is funny. So I didn't found the original video because they already make the change, but I did something here just for you to understand. And I'm going to stop the video just for you to understand.
Para já, dou também as boas-vindas a Dulce Guarda, que é porta-voz da startup MyLed. O que é que representa para esta startup evento como este, a Global Sport Tech?
Bem, olá, obrigada também por nos terem convidado. O Global Sports Tech significa uma porta de entrada para um novo mercado. Nós, neste caso, começamos, nomeadamente aqui em Portugal.
Para já, dou também as boas-vindas a Dulce.
Sorry. So here you see that they didn't have a founder of MyLed, so they had a spokesperson of MyLed. And this was just because, well, you're going to see a little further. Let me just...
Nomeadamente aqui.
O site EU Startups elegeu-a como uma das 10 startups que podem ser disruptivas para a indústria do desporto. A portuguesa MyLed especializou-se em realidade aumentada e em julho conseguiu angariar 7,6 milhões de euros numa ronda de investimento. Temos já desde a primeira parte uma das fundadoras da MyLed, Dulce Guarda. Muito obrigado, naturalmente.
And now here it changed. It said we have since the beginning the founder of MyLed, and so it changed because during the break I told him that I was not the spokesperson, I was a founder. And he was very apologetic about it because he introduced me, and he didn't even ask me in the beginning who I was, or he didn't make an effort to search a little bit of the person who was going to be interviewed by him. And so this was a very one of the few moments I must say that I had as being a girl in a men's world. Usually it's like that, but I have here on this panel, you see the person in the middle is Miguel Fontes, who is previous in the startup Lisboa, now is in the government, and he is in the government because he feels really strong about this kind of things. And here I'm going to show a little bit what he said about this, because during the commercial time he was very, very keen in explaining to the journalists who I was.
Pela presença neste jogo económico, mais uma vez.
A MyLed apresenta-se como uma ferramenta de engagement, fun engagement entre os clubes e os fãs, entidades desportivas. Portanto, começámos realmente no mercado do futebol, era onde nós tínhamos mais contactos inicialmente e, como o Miguel também disse, é um mercado que vive muito da emoção dos fãs.
E também, como o Diogo Luís dizia, ainda por cima com esta simpatia acrescida, se me permite a expressão, de ter o 2 em 1, que é uma mulher como fundadora de uma empresa tecnológica, o que de facto, tanto a mudar, ainda é, sejamos honestos, uma dimensão subrepresentada e, portanto, é sempre com gosto que também vejo esta realidade acontecer. Para já.
So, here in the end, it's in Portuguese this video, but Miguel is saying that in a tech world, in a startup tech world, it's very unusual to still see a woman leading, and he was very happy to have here a representation of this minority. And he said this because we had a small, not discussion, but just a few words exchanged during the break. So Miguel was emphasizing this part, and I thank very much Miguel for taking a lead on this part. So in the business world, the stereotypes, they can influence decision making, and they can make us not show our or others' full potential. And so we do need to dismantle these gender, race, age stereotypes in order to create a more dynamic and open-minded ecosystem. And even here, Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, said that to rise the challenges of the 21st century, we need to harness our full potential, and this requires dismantle gender stereotypes. And in this case, he was talking a bit more about gender stereotypes, but I wanted to emphasize that it's not only gender, it's also race, age, and other things, especially even cultural stereotypes. And if we recognize that stereotypes walk with us on a daily basis, only then we can create a more inclusive environment inside the business world. If you can take here a look at this picture, this is a board meeting of my company Splink, and once again you see that I'm still the only girl in the table. So this happens to me a lot of times, but I think that recognizing and challenging these stereotypes, we can create more inclusive environments, and inside the business, I think this is very important. This is just a few images of me in meetings, and you'll see that usually I'm the only girl, but you can see here that most of them, even in terms of, in terms of race, we are still looking a little bit about, we can see differences, especially because in my case, Splink, we have an investor from Dubai, we have people from USA, we deal with football clubs, so we do come across different countries. So in terms of the landscape of cultural, we have a more, it's more unanimous, so there's a lot of different people, but in terms of race, usually that does not happen. And in terms of age, also, as you can see, they tend to be younger generation because of the startup world that we are. But as girls, and I think here a lot of people are women here on this presentation, so we need to prove them wrong that girl can be in a tech world along men. In negotiations, so in negotiations, the concept, the pre-concept and stereotypes are also very involved. And it's usually pre-concept that men tend to be more assertive and women are less assertive, and this can lead to different opportunities presented to each gender. But it's important to realize that, especially in the today's world, men and women, they are both equal. They can do business in the same way. They can have the potential of creating strong partnerships. And so to be neutral about an effective negotiation, it's important to create good deals for everyone, not only for the entrepreneurs but also for the investment part. The stereotypes, they don't exist only in terms of the business or in society, but usually they come also inside our family environment. So not because they want to harm us, but because the family, they want the best for us, and usually they think that a more traditional career might be better in the future. We all have been there. We all that have companies have been there. I've been there with my mom and dad. Maybe my dad a little less because he was also an entrepreneur himself. But my mom, sure, she was a little bit afraid for me to leaving the traditional work, even though I started in advertising, which is per se not very traditional, but I was working for someone, not working for myself. So I think this is very important. But on the other hand, we have an investor that seems to want to push us to create a rapid growth inside our companies. They want to see that moonshot graphic when it comes to revenues. In these situations, they push us to do things that society wants us to see us as an entrepreneur, or our family wants to see us as a working or as a stable working person. And it's important to distance ourselves from these stereotypes and to embrace and to listen to everyone, but to choose the things that make sense for us. But so now what? I think it's important for us to understand that it's we need to bring awareness, education, and we need to commit to business and investment that can support the entrepreneurs and that can unlock the full potential of people, so we can prosper innovation, not only inside our companies, but also innovation for society overall. It's important to unlock the potential of everyone. Everyone is different, and everyone brings something different to the table. And once we understand these differentiations, they can generate great things. Only then we can create the different world and a more fair world to everyone. Thank you very much for your attention. For my side, I don't have any more, I think, to add to this conversation, but I do really love to talk a little bit about with you about this topic, and maybe inside our companies, if you ever feel something similar to the situations that I brought here, we can discuss. I do have some things. I'm going to stop here the presentation, but even I do have other situations that I came across. Like I can tell you that when I was in an acceleration program in the Netherlands, it was not because it was in the Netherlands, but one company there, it was from Russia, and he said hello to everyone there except me because I was a girl. And in Russia, there's still, in terms of gender, there's still a lot of stereotypes related to that. So this is another situation. Maybe it's not really, sometimes people do want to push me to say things like, well, I'm sure that you have situations because you are a girl in entrepreneur. No, I don't have situations because I'm a girl in entrepreneur. I have situations because I'm a girl in society overall. Because problems for entrepreneur, for me, are equal for men and women. It's because we are entrepreneurs and we are starting something, and we all have the same issues. But as a girl or a man or race or age, there are problems, but it's because we are living in a society that pushes to have these misconceptions, like I showed in the video, the ad girl run like a girl. So I do think it's important to pass this message. It's not because we are women or we are men in entrepreneur. It's because we are placed in a society that have a lot of big implemented stereotypes inside our minds.
It was great, Dulce. I love it. I think that sometimes we need to have some fun situations and explaining funny situations. This and tell us, Dulce, do you think that a female founder have less opportunities to be financing by business angels, by investors, or is the same?
No, I don't think. I think well, at least for me, I've been in the entrepreneurship world since 2013. I had this is my third company, four if you count that this had a pivot, but it's my third company. I raised in all the companies. This one I raised 7.6 million in a pre-seed round, in a seed round. So I don't think that women face different challenges in terms of investment or in terms of entrepreneur, because I think nowadays we do have more and more women in running companies, more and more. Even I don't. It's not really a startup concept, but in the small businesses that we see, like more crafty business and more one-on-one business, like there's more and more women that, especially after COVID, I think there's more people that started to create business on their own, whether it is business to scale up or smaller businesses. So I think people are more aware of that situation. But I think it's difficult to generate or to generate investment opportunities, especially after the COVID situation, now with the war, and also after the crypto part, because there was a big hype when crypto came. Now it's starting to get a little lower on that situation, and there was a lot of money throwing at those projects, and now I think the investors have a little more cash. They step a little bit on the brake on those kind of investment. But there's a lot of money to invest. We just have to find the opportunities and to really be focused on getting investment. It's not a one-time meeting. It's a very different meetings that can lead to an investment. Like in our case, we raised 7.5 million during COVID time. It was during 2020, but we went to Dubai every month for at least 3-4 days to be with the investor and to meet people. So it took us like for 6 months maybe to get the investment and to have meetings on a monthly basis. So things take time, but they happen.
It's nice. And there are any strategies or initiatives that Splints implement to promote gender diversity and to empower female athletes or professionals? There are some initiatives or strategies.
Well, we try to engage here inside our team activities and generate opportunities both for men and women. I would love to say that we have a team of only women. We don't, but it's not because we don't choose to work with women. It's just because we choose to work with good people and with good workers. So people that really know their business, that really know marketing, that really know project management. And if that happens to be a girl or a boy, for us it's okay. Men or women, it's fine, as long as they are really good working people and they are fit to the team values, to the team mission. I think that's more important. But we have men and women working here, and I think it's important. We also try to give these talks lots of times, every time that someone asks, and we do love to share our point of view on this situation. But we value, of course, we value having a lot of different races and the different opinions inside our team, especially maybe sometimes bringing people that are not like their background may not be in the project that we are working, but it's good to have different mindsets and different ideas, because they generate different and innovation inside our team.
Let me ask you something, Dulce. Well, we know that there is a lot of prejudice and discriminations, gender discrimination this time. But let me go a little back, because there still is, I still feel that, and we see by the statistics, that women tend to choose professions that are women-like.
Yeah.
Well, there is a gender bias on education. How should we fight this? Because there's nothing, when a child goes to school, there's nothing differentiating a girl from a boy. But then during the process,
Life happens.
it's still, and what happens is that there are much more women completing the university degrees, PhD degrees, and so on, but on areas that has less tech related and then less good jobs for the future. How can we fight this? What is your opinion?
I think it comes from an early age, like I think the video shows that really clearly. It comes from a young age. Yeah, it comes. But then what Lourdes said, when they grow up, they tend to choose, and I think that's because I joke a little bit, because life happens, but it's really that. I mean, we are placed in a society, we connect with the older generation, so even inside our households, so things that are passed to us, it was because we heard from our mom and dad and our grandparents. It's
cultural.
Because of that. So it's cultural, yeah. So I think this happens along a few years. Like maybe my generation try to implement to my I try to implement to my kid that he can listen to everything, he can play with everything. When we even see this in commercials like Aldi and Lidl, they put boys inside the kitchen toys, like they implement this, and I think this is important. Small messages, but it's important to for the mindset of the younger generation. But nowadays, in terms of degrees, more tech studies, more tech degrees, they are being chosen by women. So I do think that the next generation probably is going to be more gender equality in terms of that part. And I think probably it's still a long way to go.
25% in most of the tech.
Nothing happens from one day to another, but I do think it starts from the younger generation. I do think so, and this younger generation, for me, they are more aware of these gender issues, even race, and that's why we see even in the news today, with the wars and with the fairness issues that there are around the world, we see that the younger generation tend to do protests to the governments about it, and it's because of this. The younger generation are more aware, and so I think it's important now to pass that message to our children and to our grandchildren, that they can be more inclusive, and they should be more inclusive, and people are just people. I usually say, so I've been traveling because of startups and my business to every different parts of the world. I've been to Qatar, to Dubai, to China, a lot of countries in Europe, USA. And when I meet someone, this is the cliche, but for me, it's really people are just people for me. I don't have any preconceived ideas of who is in front of me. I really don't. And I've been with the various situations that when I was in Qatar, I asked for a ride to visit the desert, and I jumped inside the car, and I didn't even confirm if that was the right person. So I was fully trust on the person that was in front of me. And today he speaks with me on Facebook, and so it's for me, people nowadays are really people. It's because I have this opportunity to come across with different culture and to be in conversation with different people. And I think that the startup world also brings that and helps that with that situation as well. And since more and more, maybe it's a trend of having a startup, maybe, I don't know, but I think people are so unsatisfied with their traditional jobs that they tend to create something for themselves. And maybe that also can lead to a different impact in terms of the non-creation of these stereotypes. It's my personal opinion, of course.
It's great.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think that it's a fight every day. We have to be conscious that we have to fight the bias that still exists in the society. That's for sure.
In that case, like the video, the TV news that I showed, it was a biased thing for him to do it. I'm sure he didn't mean any harm with that. It's just because, oh, well, it's a girl talking about the project. Probably it's the spokesperson. But I've been in that situation even with women. Like I was presented to a project and they wanted to say, well, this is a project about women and we want to empower women and we want you to talk about the issues that you have because you are a women entrepreneur. They assume that I have issues because I'm a women entrepreneur. They didn't ask if I had. They just assume that I have because they are women and they are so strongly about this passion that they assume that this happens to everyone. And that's why every time that I have an opportunity to talk about this, I always say that for me, the entrepreneur issues are because we are entrepreneurs, not because we are men and women. In my case, that's what I say, that the issues that I had, it's because I'm a woman in a society that tends to have this minority treat differently. Not because I'm an entrepreneur. And this is also a personal opinion. This is things that happen to me. I'm not generalizing that it's maybe for some people these things already happen, and I'm sure that it happens, especially maybe in countries like where the culture is more strong about these differences. Like I mentioned the case of Russia, maybe it's a cultural thing there, and I'm sure that in different countries this happens as well. But I think it's a thing that it changes over time. It's not something that we can change overnight, but it's something that we need to be aware. And if we are aware that these differences they are there, we can start by ourselves thinking that what can I do to make this situation different, and taking an action to do something.
I don't know if there are any other questions to Dulce, that it's here with us today. If not, I just need to say thank you very much, Dulce. It was great. And for our side, in Investor, we'll try to continue to dismantle any stereotypes that exist in business and investment ecosystem. And we thank you very much for your participation, all the persons here, and Dulce for all this talk, and it was great. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, meet you too.
We have the opportunity to see ourselves in person.
Yeah, sure. I'm in Lisbon, and for everyone that is here and that will see this. Okay. But well, actually, our my co-founder is today in Porto, so I mean, we have a meeting with people from the Vinicius, the player from Brazil, that is there to play with Braga. But I would just wanted to say that you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to talk with everyone that has an issue or has a view on this, or wants to know a little bit more about entrepreneurship and how to start their own business, or maybe some challenges that they are facing. We all face the same challenges along the way, so I'm happy to share my thoughts.